Today we're going to continue working on this 1968 Datsun 520 pickup truck. Essentially the most desired classic vehicle for restoration. Why has the Datsun pickup truck become the #1 classic restoration project not only in the United States, but in the world? What it amounts to is American muscle is just too expensive nowadays. Petrol is at an all-time high, and not many people can afford big turbos and V8 power. So people all over the world now only desire Datsun pickup trucks, and specifically this 520. I am so grateful to have this one in my possession, and I am restoring this pickup truck to its former glory. So join me as I take this pile of rusty junk and transform it into a shiny new pickup truck. As always, I am the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee without a doubt, at your service. Quick reminder of where we're at with the floor. This is the passenger side, and this is how far along I got with it, welding in these patches, tailgate parts. Here's the back side. It's not great lighting, but if you'll remember, we got all that fixed up too. Many of you have already seen the floor on this side, and I'm nearly finished. I still have to do some cleanup and a few more little patches. This side came out good. It's sturdy and strong, but the way I did it wasn't really an efficient, quick way of doing it. And the reason why is because I used so many different pieces along the way here, which I thought was necessary, but I think I found a better way of doing the other side. The plan is a simple one, but should be effective. What I'm gonna do is go down through here and basically put a piece of metal, slip it up in here. I can cut this old metal out, but the new piece is gonna be slipped up in here, just a straight flat piece, and it's gonna go from here all the way back to here will be one piece, just a flat piece. The next piece will be from here all the way back. I'm separating those two pieces because it'll just be easier and quicker. This piece on this side needs to be replaced, this angle, so I'll do that. After that, I'm thinking we should be able to weld the floor in and then put the brackets where they need to be. I think it'll be a lot cleaner job and a lot quicker. I don't know, we'll find out. Look how flimsy everything is. We're gonna fix that. Oh. Well, that went quick. The plan now is to weld this piece of metal in from here to right there where it changes angles. And I'm also gonna make this piece right here, and we will weld it in here. Not sure, I'm probably gonna cut this top out, which gets rid of this, and this is an extra support, so we may have to do something on top with that. Here's our first piece. Fit just like that. Changing plans. I was gonna do only 2 pieces. I'm gonna do 3. The reason I'm doing it in 3 sections is just because I'll be able to build this spot up and it'll be strong here, and I can hold it in this spot while I work on the back. I could find a way to jack it up without doing that and do it all at once, but this is easier and quicker, and that's what we're going for. All right, tip time. When you draw a line like this, you see that? Say you're wanting to save this material here. This is what you're using. If you take a cutoff wheel and cut directly on this line, you're going to lose some of this material and some of this material. So if you want it to be an exact fit, you need to cut on this side of the line. Just barely leave that line. Also keep in mind, the bigger tool you have to cut your material, the more material you're going to lose. Like if you were using a plasma cutter right on the line, you'd be blowing out both sides. So you want to stay on this side. Allow me to share another tip with you. If you're getting those holes in your metal, which you're gonna if you're welding rusty metal, but if you're getting those little pinholes and you got brand new metal and you're trying to figure out what's wrong, it's possible that this part right here could be bad on your welder. It is a consumable item, and what happens is this slowly backs up. And as it does, your shielding gas doesn't do the job it's supposed to do. This one's already wore down pretty good, but I'm going to continue to use it. If you're having that issue though, you may want to look into that. This thing should be, I think, maybe even over the tip a little bit like that. I'm pretty sure that's right. It's been a while since I had a new one. But see, if your tip's getting way out there, you're going to have issues. I learned this stuff the hard way, so you don't have to. There's our second piece. It fits nice. Now I will weld it into place. Now I have to duplicate this piece. It wasn't bad on the other side, but it is this side. And the way it's made is got this angle, but it also turns up here and goes flat here. I think I'm only gonna make this angle and weld that piece on because my bender won't be able to do that. While we are on the subject of benders, you can make your own. If you have a little shop press like this, all you need is a piece of angle iron like this. This is round rod, I guess, and I welded it on both sides of this angle iron to hold it flat like that. Here's another piece of angle iron, and this, another piece of round stock. And that's it. You crank it down onto your plate of metal. What I've learned is that I put a line on here, and this angle iron, if I put the pointy part of it right on the line, it'll bend it right where I need it to. Cautiously taking my time because I'm doing this for a YouTube video, and I don't want to make a fool out of myself. And I will do that before I edit this, so let's see what happens. Let's take a look. Ah, not bad. Not bad at all. As far as my line goes, like I said, it's right on. You probably can't see that, but it got right on the line, so that's nice. And that's a good over 90-degree angle. This piece of metal is 14 gauge and was 14.5 inches, well, 14.25 inches long. So our bender did good for that. I think car metal is probably 18 gauge, maybe even 20. Now I'll weld this piece onto here. And if you're wondering why I'm not bending it like that, it's because this piece would have to go like this, and see, I can't do that in order to fit it in there and get it to bend up like that. Also, when I weld this piece on, again, you have to be mindful. Am I going to weld it here or on top of here? And the way I'm doing it is here. That's the way it's going to work for me. But I'm saying if you're doing your own project, you need to know where you're welding this stuff. All these little things will drive you nuts if you do it in the wrong spot. All right, one more thing. When you weld this, if you weld it on this side, it's going to draw this metal this direction. Whatever direction you're welding on is the way the metal's going to be drawn. So you might want to tack it on both sides to get it in the right spot before you weld it up solid. Slags building up in your nozzle? Get some tip dip. That'll solve that problem. See how our piece fits? I did mark it right here so I knew where it would go back. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but I know it's close. Now we'll weld that in. Looks good to me. I just wanted to show that I am in fact capable of gap welding. That's a pretty good gap. See that? Look at my screwdriver up in there. And this is a big screwdriver. Now I'll weld her up. No coat hangers, just good old-fashioned gap welding. And there it is. My hope now is that we have enough strength that this will hold when I let this pole jack down, so I can get on the top to cut the floor out and put a new floor in. And it's holding just fine. So there we go. See, this added quite a bit of strength, this brace through there and this going through here. Although it's only attached up here, it's holding good. My poor pitiful rusty Datsun. Time now to cut a section of this floor out the front and see if we can get a piece to fit in there. Before I rip this floor out, I need to mark that front bracket. I did not mark it yet. No harm done, and I actually could have just measured the other side and matched it up, but I would rather do it like this. And I'll probably make it just a little bit wider. That way we can't miss. I can't draw a straight line, that's for sure. There it is. Still pecking away at the bodywork on the cab corner back here. For the driver's side, I bent a 90-degree angle and welded it to the truck. Now I can put the floor pan down flat and weld it up. Unlike the other side where I bent the floor pan both sides, this should be easier. This really did, or does, fit nice. Look at that. Here's where we're at with the floor on the driver's side. And lighting is probably not the best, but I welded that piece in there. And unfortunately now, I've got to change gears and put this aside. The main reason I gave myself that deadline of September the 15th was because my free air paint booth doesn't work good in the wintertime in Kentucky. So it was important that I get all the painting done before the weather turns bad. And September the 15th, I thought that still gives myself really about another month and a half where you could get free air paint weather. That being said, I still have 2 wheels that I need to finish up. I had trouble with them. This is going to be the 4th time. I got to sand a couple little runs out of them and get them painted. So we'll switch to doing that, and then we'll get back to the welding on the floor probably next video. Also, 2 of the wheels are painted, so we'll get those finished up, put a couple tires on them. I'm going to tell you one thing about painting that I know, is when you screw up and you get a run or something like that, just stop. Just stop. Let it cure out. Everybody always in a big hurry to get it done, so they try to fix the run or they try to blow over it with paint, this and that. If you would just stop, then all you have to do is go back just like this. I just got to fix this one little spot and then scuff the rest of it, and then just I'm going to put 2 coats on them. And that's it. If you try to fix this while it's still wet and you mess with it and you spray a lot of paint on it, then you got a whole lot more sanding to do, and usually you'll screw up more than just this one little spot. And here's the other thing. Always wear your mask when you're sanding or painting or anything. This stuff is toxic, and paint has hardener in it. So what do you think it does to your little tender lungs? Finally done painting these wheels. They were such a nightmare. Like I say, this is, I think, the 4th time on these two, and they are good to go. The reason this one's standing up is because I had just a little bit of a run wanting to travel that way, so I stood it up so it would roll back down flat, and it did work, so I lucked out. Just dumb luck. Put up in a safe spot to finish drying. Now we'll get to the other 2 wheels that I have painted and finish those up. Last thing I need to do to finish these wheels up is I need to use a seam sealer and put it in this little tiny crack around here. It'll just clean it up nice. Real easy to put too much. You don't need that much, just enough to fill that little crack. And done. Now, I missed a spot. And I made a mess too. I'll go around now and just, and it's too bad. If I did a good job, it would look nice right to start with, but I didn't, so. Anyway, you gotta take a rag and just basically wipe out the excess. That's why you don't want to put too much on. You just end up cleaning it all back out. So that's what I was going for right there. If you can see it, it's just a very thin line to kind of clean up that little crack. And I think it looks a lot better like that. A new valve stem. Now we're ready for tires. Let's see if we can do this without scratching the wheels. Yellow dot goes to valve stem. The red dot is the heaviest point of the tire. That went great. One more. Okay, all slicked up. Let's see how this one goes. No harm done to either wheel, so I'm a happy person here. Our hubcap retainers. These wheels have been just a nightmare. I guess I should have just had them powder coated, but tried to save a couple bucks. So there's one clip. I have 2 more on this wheel and 3 on the others. I'm gonna do that off camera and we'll pop a hubcap on. Last step. I like that they fit nice and tight like that. Let's see how this one fits. Nice. They came out just like I imagined they would, and I hope they look good on the truck. I think they will. I certainly want to thank everyone who's been watching these videos on my Datsun truck restoration. I know a lot of you guys are old motorcycle guys, but I appreciate you staying with me. Don't forget about the playlist. It's in the description below. There's like 27 videos on this truck from the time I drug it out of my woods until now. I am the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee without a doubt. We'll see you next time.